This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 on the map Industrial Strength in the north, playing the Empire. This is Zugspitze. In the south, playing the Allies. This is Harlen. At least that's what I hope what those guys' names are. That is what Uno said in the replay comments. So I'm going to go with Uno. Usually Uno is right. And if not, well, you know who to yell at. And if you are still watching, well, guess what? The Red Alert 3 Xmas tournament is coming up. Well, I guess if you're watching this before December 23rd and 24th of 2023, then the Xmas tournaments are coming up. And yes, I said Xmas tournaments because if you haven't, or if you're not aware of the Red Alert 3 Xmas tournament tradition, it is usually, War Factory first, coming out from Harlen. Hello. If you are not familiar with the Red Alert 3 Xmas traditions, one of the things that Rage of Heat pretty much always does, for the last couple of years at least, but always does, is 3 tournaments. 1 double elimination on Saturday, and then Sunday is double turbo tournament day. So a lot of tournaments can go for a long time. They can last quite a few hours and can be difficult to play in purely because of that. So turbo tournaments are deliberately designed to be short, and there's 2 of them, so they have staggered start times, which means everyone can probably find a time to participate sometime Saturday or Sunday. And there is $300 up for grabs. A lot of that is also in random draw prizes. So if you're interested in joining in the action or donating to the prize pool, check out the links in the description. Jab will get the snipe on the barracks. Infantry will get the snipe on the jab. And Peacekeepers inside of the IFVs trying to cut down on those Imperial Warriors. Tankbusters should be able to kill off at least one of those IFVs. No! He targets the weakened IFV barely at the end there, and Zugspitze not getting a kill on those IFVs. Of course, with this garage capture, those IFVs now have so much more viability without returning to base to get those repairs. Zugspitze, on the other hand, goes straight for the aggression, goes straight for the attack. He does not have that, well, it wouldn't matter for that Tango anyways, but he does not have that garage for those repairs, so he does have to be a little bit more careful with his units against his opponent, at least until this new barracks comes online and he's able to potentially grab that. Peacekeeper IFVs are moving into position to potentially stop that engineer capture of the garage, but they also are getting a little bit distracted there with the infantry on the low ground. I genuinely think he should have sent one of the Peacekeeper IFVs up to that high ground to be able to take that or stop that garage steal from happening, because now the garage is under the control of Zugspitze, which means these Tangus on the ground are going to have that repair functionality, and they are going to have that extra health and viability here on the ground while they are harassing. IFVs no longer with those free repairs, and one IFV finally goes down. Harlen loses an IFV there, but will be able to return to his now airfield after 3rd refinery. So for those of you who hate some of that early game Allies stuff, this is not the case for this game. Tankbusters moving into position. They will be able to get the save on. Never mind. That Tangu does actually survive. He doesn't fly over the IFVs. He doesn't engage with an Apollo, and instead he will survive for now an extremely low health Tangu, just flirting with death, and Zugspitze giving away a Tangu there. For the current moment, surviving on just 2 refineries. He's got that oil derrick as well, which is nice, and really having that garage gives him so much more ability to keep his units alive that it probably is similar to having like a half refinery advantage. The fact that he doesn't have to send these tsunami tanks back. A couple of tsunami tanks are here trying to meddle with the main base of Harlen. Another Tangu does get sniped. The Vindicators still bring the death to those Tangus if they can land the shots. And the Tengus don't just transform into the air. Tsunami Tank will get sniped with the help of that Vindicator. IFV's doing a good job of chipping away at these Tsunami Tanks, but of course, they can take turns activating those Nano Deflectors, and well, that guy did not activate his Nano Deflectors, but he did go for his bomb explosion on these IFVs. Nice control by Harlen to zip around that War Factory, getting constant repairs. Both of these players trying to catch the other one and force out a mistake or an error. Perfect transform timing there by Zugspitze, and he gets the save on that Tengu, barely keeping those IFVs from killing it. Airfield eventually gets sniped. Fully heroic tank buster inside of that building. It took him a long time to break down all of those walls to get the kill on that airfield, but they finally have worked through the airfield health and killed it off. Massive amount of damage done there by Zugspitze, but it's not over yet. He has not totally disrupted Harlen just yet, but he has done enough to cause a lot of problems for Harlen. On the other side of the map, we still don't have an expansion. So as Harlen's third refinery is under threat, he is going to be just falling back to a place of equal with Zugspitze. Point defense drones and the garage both putting in a lot of work to keep this Tsunami Tank alive. The Tsunami Tanks are going to kind of subvert expectations and just go around to the water to start poking and prodding at that ore refinery. Of course, a couple of tank busters inside of this building going to be pushing away those IFVs, stopping them from engaging, but not stopping these Vindicators who have moved into a trap of Tengus to trade IFVs for Vindicators. One Tengu does go down, a second Tengu gets eliminated. They're going deep on into enemy territory for those kills, and now they're gonna have to fight the IFVs on the ground. The War Factory being sold off there to keep the lights on. Harlen is willing to sacrifice basically everything, and these Tengus surviving for so much longer than they would be able to. The IFVs are not responding to anything else on the map. Instead, it is all up to the Vindicators who get the kill on the Tsunami Tanks, but at what cost? The cost of the third refinery. And as Zugspitze kills a third refinery of his opponent, he takes his own third refinery on the other side of the map. He reverses the economic situation of these competitors. Not exactly, as this oil derrick gets targeted down. Harlen is looking to reduce the advantage of the Empire player by just a little bit. The fact that Zugspitze now has a third refinery and still maintains control of that garage is just a huge advantage, considering how much stuff went down over the course of the last couple of minutes for Zugspitze. He lost a lot of Tsunami Tanks, way more Tsunami Tanks than would be really advisable in a normal game for an Empire player. And I think he was confident to do that because he had that garage, because he had that third refinery coming up. But if he loses the garage, and fortunately the Peacekeepers aren't still attacking the third refinery, but if he loses the garage, he now no longer has one of those safety nets that he was relying on. Third refinery versus third refinery, technically a slight advantage for Harlen with that oil derrick, and the garage is gone, so we are back to a much more even playing field. And now Harlen is going to be feeling really good about all of those Tsunami Tank kills that he got. Maybe seven Tsunami Tank kills so far in this game. That's a lot of cash down the drain, and that is a lot of firepower that just no longer exists on the map. Industrial strength not leading us to a turret push or a cryo rush, and instead leading us to like a pretty intensely ground focused combo between these two players. A lot of infantry from the Empire player, a lot of IFVs and other War Factory units from the Allied player. Of course, yeah, we have Tengus, we have Vindicators, but it has been a very ground focused fight here on industrial strength. It does feel like Zugspitze needs to kill off this oil derrick or capture it himself. Sending off, 4 Imperial Warriors or something to clear out this building, take this building over, and then use that to leapfrog to this building seems like a good idea. Obviously, Zugspitze has other things on his mind, but he does still have this barrack, so it feels like a good idea to just take back that northern side of the map. I love the Vindicators to dislodge the Civ structure, but it does kind of get disrupted there by them evacuating and avoiding the bombs killing off that structure. Once again, the Peacekeepers are trying to harass this refinery, and Harlen will get the forced cancel of that refinery, the forced sell-off by Zugspitze, and now suddenly the economy is much more solidly in the favor of Harlen. Not only does he have a 2K bank, but that income advantage is just going to be growing over the course of the next couple of minutes. Imperial Warriors will be able to get the kill on the Harvester. They get the kill on that those Peacekeepers, rather, getting the kill on that Imperial Warrior and that Harvester. Tengus going for the big transform for point defense drones. And that will be the fuel up of the point defense drones, laying it all across all of those units, ready to go. And then the harassment can start. Conyard is up to tier 2, wouldn't be surprised to see tier 3 on the horizon very soon. It feels like a very allied controlled game with the kill of that third refinery, with the kill of the garage, the oil derrick as well. Everything has gone back over to the allied control, but it's of course not over yet. Tengus are going to be forced into a big transform with all of those IFVs there. You either have to move or you have to transform. You cannot sit under IFV firepower, and it is going to be the transform here at the third refinery. Once again, a big, huge transform for this Tengu cloud. They go for the kill on the 2 Vindicators in the sky, and then they immediately go for the transform onto the third refinery. They will be able to get the third refinery and escape out to the water for it. So a kill for a kill, and the walls have not been reestablished, so those Peacekeepers can be even more annoying. Zugspitze has failed to dislodge these Peacekeepers twice now. They have been causing him trouble, maybe even 3 times since the time that they were sort of originally sent over there. Power plant now getting targeted down. Emperor's Rage gets activated here. Another Vindicator comes in for a bombing run, and the Tengus don't necessarily want to fight everything from the allies all at once, but they can definitely poke and prod and find some damage here or there. Guardian tanks moving out into the middle of the map. Not a lot of anti-air support, so the Striker VX will show up. This chopper is going to get a couple of shots off here, but no, the IFVs show up in time, and now it's going to be turning into a bit of a push and pull. This tier 3 allied MCV is extremely important to Harlen. He needs to keep this alive, and most of his army is out in the middle of the map fighting a different battle. An honorable discharge is a powerful thing indeed, but so are point defense drones as they expire and are reapplied. This MCV cannot be saved, and the tier 3 will die here with the kill from those Tengus. 1 power plant getting established barely gets outdone in time, but another third refinery has been cleaned up on the Empire side of the map. Harlen, for the last couple of minutes, his only big damage on his opponent's side of the map has come courtesy of that Cryogeddon. He has not won the fights that mattered. Zugspitze has found the angle with his big Tengu cloud, and he has been able to get the kills that matter. Now this Riptide will go down. Good night to that Riptide. The refinery is safe for now and safe from Peacekeepers, but not safe from aircraft. Harlen, with a decent bank now spent, his third refinery still online and operational. The number of times he's had to rebuild that, or nearly rebuild that, is a little bit uncomfortable. War Factory producing, I assume, another MCV. We'll see. But Zugspitze, his front door has been broken down. Chopper VX is going to have to get on out of there. Tengus Are they not going to defend? He's crossing the map. He will see the MCV spawn in just as his tsunami tanks arrive at this base, and he's actually going to be forcing a full-on retreat from the allied player. So Harlen plays into this, and he turns his army around. He does leave a couple of peacekeepers here to keep tearing things apart. A couple of Imperial warriors need to get in on that action, and his javelin off from the high ground will snipe a refinery, really forcing Zugspitze into this all-in cross map base trade scenario. And well, point defense drones get reapplied to this army. Tsunamis are going to try and escape out the front door. Tengus will transform and rush away in the skies. The tier 2 mecha bay has survived. That is what matters almost as much as this MCV. And boy, that third refinery on the water now seems like an extremely fortunate play, almost a clairvoyant action here, as this game turns a little bit wonky for the Empire player. Chopper VX flies too close to the land, gets his wings clipped. Second Chopper VX goes down as well. Some sloppy control from Zugspitze results in 2 extra kills for the allied player. Harlen finding those kills right on the edge of range, de-garrisoning that javelin, or those IFVs, sending them over to the edge of the water there to get those kills. A great move there by Harlen. And now Zugspitze from the high ground will be able to jump on 2 tanks, gets an IFV as well. Tengu's going to be transforming onto the other IFV. All of the tanks go down. Harlen finds the perfect angle with the IFVs over here, and then he himself gets jumped on. His entire vehicle army gets smashed to bits, courtesy of those Chopper VXs, and a fully heroic Jav can indeed outrange everything else, because he will get the kill on that refinery from the high ground. The Jav gets the kill. Second refinery is already up and running out on the water, the new home base for the Empire, and it's going to just have to be as much damage everywhere on the map for both players as possible. Tier 2 has now been repurchased by Zugspitze, or by Harlen. He's got at least that much going for him. His MCV got rebuilt, and now he has repurchased that Tier 2 as well. Point defense drones on the Tengus and on the Chopper VXs on the high ground, and the rest of the main base of Harlen is being torn apart here. Zugspitze, with the Tank Buster surprise, gets a little bit of additional firepower to bring down that refinery, bring down that airfield. Harlen now scrambling. He has been pushed into this corner with his War Factory production. He has not been able to just go out to the water like Zugspitze can. Chopper VXs, Tengus, and Tsunami tanks can all make their way out to the water. A second Guardian tank getting sniped almost here. Peacekeepers are here. They're looking to clean up these tank busters. Two of the tank busters are fully heroic. If you can keep those alive, it is fantastic. Double Vet Tsunami tank gets rushed in and annihilated as that Guardian tank goes golden. Meanwhile, on the north side of the map, just a couple of Tengus going to town against a Peacekeeper. Big transform does happen. Emperor's Rage has been activated. These choppers are looking for the kill on the IFVs so that they can reign supreme on everything on the ground, but they lose their courage. The IFV is going to be able to get a couple of extra shots here. One of them, fully heroic, does massive damage to anything in the air, and the Tengus will escape. The Chopper VXs stick around, and honestly, they might as well try and poke and prod these buildings. If there are no jabs in those buildings, then they can do some damage. Ooh, fully heroic Chopper VX needs to escape here. Both players losing so much value over the course of this game. So many tens of thousands of credits down the drain for them both. They've both had their fair share of really solid plays, of catching their opponent off guard, and they've both had their share of missteps and mistakes. Naval Yard up and running. Tier 2 on that docks. MCV escapes with barely a scratch from the land and makes a new life out on the water. Meanwhile, this command hub has been here for a little while. Harlen still doesn't have a refinery up and running. He instead decides to go back to his main base, get these refineries back up and running. Chases Ooh, maybe one Tengu going down here as they try to escape. And I just realized the beginning of this game had a pretty decent amount of allied aircraft in it, but there really have not been very much allied aircraft for the last 10 minutes or so. Harvester's going toe-to-toe with this Riptide. Eventually, the Riptide will fall, but he kills one Harvester first. Big transform coming in. Tengu's looking for the kill on these IFVs. There, they will finally find the transform after another Chopper VX falls to the ground. And these choppers now on the ground, useless to kill off any of these buildings. Balloon bombs will be getting called in. The power plant getting targeted down once again. Zugspitze going for anything and everything that he can find. The Tengus will be able to take down a couple of these peacekeepers. One tank might go down. No, the IFVs save the tank. The balloon bombs will get that power plant, and the Tengus will go Emperor's Rage style. They turn their eyes red, and they are ready to fight to the death, or fight for a minute and then run away. With a big transform coming in here, the IFV gets a kill on exit, and unfortunately for Zugspitze, he just cannot find that angle to do the damage like he did earlier in this game. That massive damage spike in the mid game for Zugspitze. He has not gone tier 3. This Dox is still, you know, he can produce Naganatas, he can produce Tsunami tanks and Sea Wings, but he cannot yet get Shogun battleships. No land refinery just yet. These buildings still have not been cleared out by Zugspitze. They are annoying him. They have caused him many, many problems. And we're now at the stage of the game where Harlen is manually selling off 100 of these wall segments. He gives himself a little bit of cash back, but he also just clears up so much of this wasted space at his natural expansion. And Harlen has re-established an amazing foundation for himself. He has taken a lot of Empire aggression, a lot of beating, and a lot of attacks. But he has finally been able to reestablish that foundation. And it is 4 refinery allies versus 2 refinery empire. And the longer that goes on, the better it is for the allied player. Plus 6.5k per minute compared to plus 2k per minute for Zugspitze. Harlen is dwarfing the economy of Zugspitze, and Zugspitze needs to not only kill a couple of refineries, but he needs to get a kill on the entire army of Harlen. Or kill the army and the MCV. Honestly, I would settle for that. If Zugspitze managed to get the kill on the army and the MCV. Oh no, Harlen gets the perfect catch, and that will be the GG as Zugspitze leaves the game with that refinery kill in the north. Harlen had just built himself back up to such an amazing position, definitely pulling the rug out from under Zugspitze. All of that aggression, ultimately not enough to win the game. And eventually, Harlen got those 4 refineries up and running, and that was sort of the end of all things. And yeah, that 3rd refinery attempt by Zugspitze was his last hope to get himself back in this game, and it just didn't work. So GG, well played, and that will do it for this game, for this video. If you enjoyed it, well, I hope you enjoyed it, but if you want to, sign up for that tournament as well, or donate to the prize pool. Thank you all very much for watching, and this is Sybert signing out.